Welcome back to another episode of Blind Techie Geek Speaks. I'm Kathleen Mashana. In today's podcast, I'll speak about a significant musician, artist, and icon, Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is an accomplished American singer and songwriter. Dylan's major accomplishment was when he was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 2016. Bob Dylan is a music hero to generations. He is also a best-selling international artist, a Pulitzer Prize-winning author, and an Oscar winner for Things Have Changed. Dylan also sold tens of millions of albums, wrote more than 500 songs, and recorded by more than 2,000 artists. Dylan performed all over the world and was the Shakespeare of his generation. Bob Dylan's lyric writing set a standard for other composers in the music business. Dylan composed music made for poetry, rock, and folk music. Bob Dylan influenced several popular bands and musicians such as the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Who, not to mention many others. In the beginning, Dylan was into country and western music. Late in Dylan's life, he became interested in rock and roll. Such artists were Chuck Berry and Little Richard, musical influences that helped Dylan achieve his style and accomplishments in music. When Dylan was a teenager, he enjoyed listening to folk music like Odysseus, and Woody Guthrie was one of Dylan's big inspirations for music, plus many other great musicians. Bob Dylan wrote Tarantula, but he was initially not ready to publish his book. Dylan gave clips of his book to the publisher. People lost their patience for Dylan because they wanted the book published. Bob Dylan wrote Tarantula in 1966. It existed for years in dog-eared bootleg copies, but was eventually published in 1971. The book captures the tones and spirit of the turbulent times in which it was written. In Bob Dylan's Chronicles, Volume 1, you receive a mentally clear picture of the beginning and making of Bob Dylan. Through Dylan's eye and open mind, we see Greenwich Village, circa 1961. When he first arrives in Manhattan, Dylan's New York is a magical city of possibilities. A good read was Bob Dylan, prophet, mystic poet, which is exciting because it is a side of Bob Dylan that not many people knew about his Jewish religion of Judaism. Bob Dylan's songs reveal how Dylan walks in the footsteps of the Jewish religion. Dylan grew up in a Jewish community in Minnesota. He was involved in Jewish outreach and visited Israel many times. Bob Dylan was such an exciting and complicated musician. Dylan had a fantastic interview with the Rolling Stones, introduced by Rolling Stone editor Jonathan Cott. These intimate conversations comprised a priceless collection with honest, open, and thoughtful musing, a fascinating window into his one-of-a-kind mind. Bob Dylan's anthology has written music notes. BTGS Radio dared to play one of Bob Dylan's songs, The Times They Are Changing, on Amazon AMP. The pen of one of this generation's most distinct and equate voices. Bob Dylan is among the most exciting and talented musicians and will enjoy and listen to for generations to come. One of Bob Dylan's greatest hits is The Times They Are Changing. The song is so heartfelt and has such a great message in his music. It is almost like an Irish folk tale. Don't criticize what you don't understand. The Times They Are Changing is an older song that has a meaning that you can relate to today. Bob Dylan is an exciting yet complicated musician and artist. He has affected so many people in society and this generation alone. Dylan's music has inspired regular folk, but also many famous artists today. Dylan has influenced and most influential musicians such as the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Who. Dylan deserves all the accolades that come with fame because of the down-to-earth human quality and the nature of his music.